Sean Olivier will begin the race from the second spot on the starting grid. Watch out for JP Brand, starting from the third grid position in today's race.
Let's see what JP Brand can do.
The green flag is out and we're racing. Who's going to take the lead?
This is where the driver's true abilities will be put to the test. Staying calm and collected while pushing for the lead is the ultimate challenge.
This is going to be one hell of a race, I can already feel it. Is there a better sight than a field of elite racing drivers battling for position? The stewards will be hoping that there aren't too many incidents for them to pick over when the dust settles on this one.
It all comes down to this mark, where the rubber meets the road. There's no more time for talk, no more practice. The teams have done all they can. Now it comes down to Justin Davies, to bring it home.
Fantastic move from Justin Davies, who has just gained a position.
Absolutely. Justin Davies is really putting on a clinic out there, and they're making it look easy.
Things are heating up as Melvin Gauss tries to close the gap to Mark Guy.
It's a fine line between pushing the car to its limits and losing control. Melvin Gauss is really walking that tightrope.
There's not much to report on from Melvin Gauss at the moment. They're just keeping their head down and putting in consistent laps. A great pass for Melvin Gauss as they pick off other drivers and move up the field. Meanwhile, Mark Guy has lost ground.
Yes, but Melvin Gauss can't rest on their laurels. They have to keep pushing to consolidate their position.
Wow, it's a close race for third. Melvin Gauss is ahead with Mark Guy right on their tail with a gap of only 0.1 seconds.
If Mark Guy gets any closer to the back of Melvin Gauss, then one of them is gonna need some lube, if they want to take this further.
This is a tough break for Melvin Gauss. They've just lost P3 to Mark Guy and they have their work cut out for them now. 3 cars in perfect formation, creating a moving train on the circuit. They're using the slipstream to gain an advantage, but who will make the decisive move?
No doubt about it, Mark. The battle for that same piece of tarmac is intense. The sparks flying and the close quarters racing showcase the incredible skill and nerve of these drivers.
It's all eyes on this battle as Ernest Heather in 7th tries to hold off the challenge of Michel Rust.
This could be where Michel Rust is gonna dive up the inside. Ernest Heather is going to need to cover the inside and that will compromise their exit speed.
The race is heating up as Melvin Gauss in 5th closes in on Wayne Mitten. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to stop the press. Looks like that's a mistake from Justin Davies. This could be costly.
Did the wind contribute to that? It's blowing at 9 kph out there right now.
It's looking good for Sean Olivier, sitting in 1st.
Yes, but they have to keep their focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Justin Davies trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Sean Olivier. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Justin Davies close in enough to mount a challenge?
This is where experience comes into play. Sean Olivier has been in this position before and knows how to defend their position. But Justin Davies is hungry for success and won't give up easily. Will we see a clash of the titans?
It's a battle of wills out there. Each driver trying to outsmart and outmaneuver the other. We're starting to see who really has the pace now in this race as Melvin Gauss is starting to climb all over the back of Wayne Mitten. Any closer and they may need to pop the boot. It seems like Wayne Mitten is struggling. Their last lap time wasn't as good as Melvin Gauss's. Anyone who says that SRA is not the best racing club on the planet is clearly insane. The quality of driving we're seeing out there on the track is absolutely phenomenal.
I couldn't agree more. It's like these drivers were born to race. They're weaving in and out of traffic, taking corners at unbelievable speeds, and making it all look effortless. It's clear that they've put in the time and effort to hone their skills.
It looks like Michel Rust is pushing hard to catch up to JP Brand. The gap is over a second, but Michel Rust is not giving up just yet. Can they close the distance and make a move on JP Brand?
It's going to be tough for Michel Rust, as JP Brand seems to have found their rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Michel Rust pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if they can make it happen again.
The fans are on the edge of their seats. It doesn't get any closer than this.
It's going to be a close one. Melvin Gauss will have to push hard to create an opportunity.
Big gains for Melvin Gauss as they move up the field, leaving JP Brand behind.
Definitely, but there's still a long way to go in this race, and anything can happen. Melvin Gauss needs to keep driving with focus and intensity.
It looks like JP Brand is in control. They're ahead of Michel Rust by over a second, and it doesn't look like they're going to be challenged anytime soon. A solid performance from Sean Olivier, who is holding down first.
Definitely, but they can't get too comfortable. There are plenty of other drivers who are gunning for that position, and Sean Olivier has to keep pushing to stay on the pace.
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed. Things don't seem to be going Justin Davies' way in this race, as that's a big gap they'll have to close to even be in with a shout for gaining a place here.
It's not over till the checkered flag drops though, and it's important they don't lose concentration at this point.
The battle for 7 is heating up as Ernest Heather tries to catch Michel Rust in P7. The gap between Ernest Heather and Michel Rust is growing. It's now up to 0.5 seconds. The crowd is on tender hooks as Wayne Mitten in fourth chases after Mark Guy. The gap is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Can Wayne Mitten find a way to catch up?
Absolutely. Wayne Mitten in fourth will need to be patient and carefully work to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as they can't afford to take unnecessary risks and risk an off or damaging their car. Let's see if they have what it takes to get back into the game here.
The tension is building as JP Brand trails behind Melvin Gauss. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can Melvin Gauss hold on, or will JP Brand be able to close them down? It looks like JP Brand is making a move. The gap to Melvin Gauss is now down to 0.2 seconds. As a former driver, Annie, how did you manage the physical demands of racing?
It's all about preparation, Mark. Drivers undergo rigorous fitness training to build their strength, stamina, and flexibility. A proper diet and hydration plan is also essential to ensure peak performance on race day.
The intensity is off the charts as JP brand hounds Melvin Gauss, both drivers pushing themselves to the absolute limit.
This is the moment where legends are made. These drivers will go down in history as the ones who fought tooth and nail for the top spot.
The best laid plans of mice and men Annie, but it's certainly not going to plan for JP brand right now as they are struggling to keep up with Melvin Gauss. Melvin Gauss wants to close that gap with JP brand. An impressive showing from Melvin Gauss, who has gained positions and left JP brand in the dust. Disappointing for Melvin Gauss, they now find themselves in 6th. And JP brand is having to make that VW_Polo GTi Challenger as wide as possible to try and keep Melvin Gauss behind them. Excellent work from JP brand, who has managed to increase their lead over Melvin Gauss. They seem to have found their rhythm and they are grooving to it. It's a battle of wills out there, with Mike Ramsey trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Ernest Heather. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Will we see a dramatic finish to this race?
That's right. Mike Ramsey in 9th knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But Ernest Heather is no slouch, and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill and will out there.
The gap between Ernest Heather in 8th and Michelle Rust remains over a second, but Ernest Heather is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap up. Can they pull it back in the remaining 7 minutes?
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But Michelle Rust is not going to give up their position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Ernest Heather in P8 doing everything they can to catch up.
Oh, this is getting intense. Michelle Rust is just a few car lengths behind Melvin Gauss. It's a tale of two drivers right now, with Michelle Rust gaining places and Melvin Gauss losing them.
Absolutely, Mark, but there's still a long way to go in this race, and Michelle Rust can't afford to get complacent. They have to keep driving with intensity and focus.
Look at that. Ernest Heather is hot on the tail of Melvin Gauss.
That driver is really pushing the limits. They're riding the curbs and pushing the car to its limits.
Great driving from Ernest Heather, who has just gained a place and moved up to 7th.
That's what we like to see. Ernest Heather is really showing their class today.
The track conditions are looking good here today. The drivers will be able to push the cars to the limit and it's going to make for some exciting racing. A strong showing from Mark Guy, who is currently 3rd. While it doesn't look like Wayne Mitten is going to be much of a threat to anyone soon, let alone Mark Guy.
They certainly aren't going to be close enough to mount any kind of challenge soon unless it's down to a mistake from Mark Guy.
Justin Davies has a mountain to climb at the moment to close that gap with Sean Olivier. I expect their only hope at this point is that Sean Olivier makes an error.
Anything can happen yet, and it usually does. I've certainly seen drivers come back from worse.
It's all about consistency for Sean Olivier, who is currently first. This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Mike Ramsey will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy between two great drivers, with Mike Ramsey in ninth determined to catch up. But we know Melvin Gauss isn't just going to hand it to them on a plate. Mike Ramsey is going to have to take it. It should be an interesting battle to watch as long as they can close that gap.
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Melvin Gauss, who is currently in P8. But Ernest Heather is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Melvin Gauss.
Indeed, the tension is high as Melvin Gauss tries to reel in Ernest Heather. But Ernest Heather is not making it easy, maintaining a consistent pace. Can Melvin Gauss find some extra pace to bring the fight to Ernest Heather?
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Ernest Heather trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Michel Rust. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Ernest Heather close in enough to mount a challenge?
It's going to be tough for Ernest Heather, as Michel Rust seems to have found their rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Ernest Heather pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if they can make it happen again.
JP Brand is placed 5th at the moment.
That's right, they can't afford to make any mistakes or let up in their performance. Every point counts in this championship.
The crowd is on tender hooks as Wayne Midden in 4th chases after Mark Guy. The gap is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Can Wayne Midden find a way to catch up?
That's right, Wayne Midden in 4th knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But Mark Guy is no slouch, and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill and will out there.
Things are going according to plan for Mark Guy, who is currently 3rd.
Definitely Mark, but they can't afford to get complacent. They have to keep pushing hard to stay in the game.
A solid performance from Justin Davies, who is holding down 2nd. It's looking good for Sean Olivier, sitting in 1st. Impressive stuff from Sean Olivier, who has managed to pull away from Justin Davies, leaving them choking in their exhaust fumes. It's all about consistency for Sean Olivier, who is currently 1st.
Absolutely, and they need to keep driving with determination to stay in that position.
A commanding performance from Sean Olivier, who has increased their lead over Justin Davies, putting them firmly in their rearview mirrors. A strong showing from Sean Olivier, who is currently 1st.
Yes, but they have to keep their focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race.
Justin Davies is placed second at the moment. Justin Davies needs to get more consistent. Annie, they have just put in a slower lap than Mark Guy.
Can Justin Davies turn this around?
It looks like Mark Guy is pushing hard to catch up to Justin Davies. The gap is over a second, but Mark Guy is not giving up just yet. Can they close the distance and make a move on Justin Davies? Mark Guy could be on a charge here. Annie, they have just put in a quicker lap than Justin Davies. It's a battle of wills out there, with Mark Guy trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Justin Davies. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Will we see a dramatic finish to this race? Things are going according to plan for Wayne Midden, who is currently fourth.
That's right, they can't afford to make any mistakes or let up in their performance. Every point counts in this championship.
The gap between Wayne Midden and JP Brand is pretty substantial right now. It's probably going to take a mistake from Wayne Midden to even allow JP Brand to get a look in. A solid performance from Michelle Rust, who is holding down sixth. The tension is building as Ernest Heather trails behind Michelle Rust. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can Michelle Rust hold on, or will Ernest Heather be able to close them down? The leader has done it. What an incredible performance from Sean Olivier, who was simply untouchable today. This is a race that will go down in the history books. What a fantastic race from Justin Davies, who brings it home in second place.
Strong work securing second place.
Hold that thought. Hold the phone. Mark Guy has decided to pit. Hold on a second. Mark Guy is pitting. Stop the press. Mark Guy is in the pits. Melvin Gauss in 8th. Sean Olivier has got the inside track starting from pole position.
They'll be excited at their prospects for this race.
Justin Davies is holding down the fort in second place. On the third grid slot we have Mark Guy.
Mark Guy will be ready to show what they're made of.
And in the fourth position, it's none other than Wayne Mitten.
Putting that VW_Polo GTi Challenger into prime position for the race.
As the drivers prepare to take off, JP Brand sits in fifth place on the starting grid.
But they're going to have to be quick out of the blocks if they want to keep up with the top performers.
Lining up, the flag drops, and the race is underway. Drivers now face the challenge of avoiding first lap calamities.
Avoiding contact while trying to gain position is essential. The first lap is often where we see incidents that can change the course of the race.
The drivers are jockeying for position. Michel Rust will be looking to get off to a good start and consolidate their position.
All the drivers will be jostling for the best position mark. Some of them may not make it to the second lap in one piece.
Having started in 4, Wayne Mitten will be looking to establish themselves in this race. Settling into a rhythm is going to be crucial here. It's not going to plan for Melvin Gauss. They're still behind Michel Rust and the gap is increasing. I don't think they have an answer for this right now.
It's not over yet, but Melvin Gauss needs to get a move on if they want to catch up to Michel Rust.
The gap between Michel Rust and Melvin Gauss may be wide, but that doesn't mean Michel Rust is safe. They have to keep their concentration and avoid any lapses in performance.
That's very true, and Melvin Gauss knows that as well. They have to drive their own race and wait for Michel Rust to make a mistake, if they want to have any chance of overtaking.
Things don't seem to be going Mike Ramsey's way in this race, as that's a big gap they'll have to close to even be in with a shout for gaining a place here. The action is non-stop as Melvin Gauss shadows JP Brand through every twist and turn, determined to claim 7th.
This is what separates the good from the great. The ability to stay focused and perform under pressure.
It's looking good for Sean Olivier, sitting in first. The race is really heating up. Melvin Gauss is hunting down JP Brand with everything they've got.
The gap between them is just over 0.3 seconds. Can Melvin Gauss close that gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
Hold on a second. Now I may be wrong here, but I'm not sure that's the racing line. It may seem like Wayne Mitten is far behind, but Justin Davies can't afford to let their guard down. One mistake could give Wayne Mitten an opening to catch up.
You're spot on, and Wayne Mitten knows that they can't rely on Justin Davies making an error. They have to keep driving with skill and determination, and be ready to seize any opportunity that comes their way.
Wayne Mitten is running third. They're trying to catch Justin Davies.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Wayne Mitten needs to be careful not to overdo it.
Things are getting spicy now, as JP Brand and Ernest Heather look to battle it out for 6th place.
It's an intense race between these two drivers, and Ernest Heather is going to have to try something here.
Every move counts now as Wayne Midden works to reel in Justin Davies and overtake for P2.
Who will be able to maintain their pace and come out on top?
Hold up, breaking info. Oh, my Mark guy has had an incident. Wayne Midden is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a tightrope between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play. Can Wayne Midden close the 0.3 second gap and make a pass?
Looks like Michel Rust is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about finding the right balance between speed and control. The tension between Michel Rust and Wayne Midden is palpable as they battle for P3. No doubt, both drivers know that one mistake could cost them the position. It's a test of nerves as much as skill.
The gap between Michel Rust and Wayne Midden is widening. It's now up to 0.4 seconds. The gap between Mark Guy in 9th and Mike Ramsey remains over a second, but Mark Guy is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap up. Can they pull it back in the remaining 13 minutes?
This is where experience comes into play. Mike Ramsey has been in this position before and knows how to defend their position. But Mark Guy is hungry for success and won't give up easily. Will we see a clash of the titans?
The pressure is on for Michel Rust as they try to catch up to Wayne Midden. Michel Rust has just put in a faster lap than Wayne Midden, so that's going to give them something to worry about. The race is heating up as Michel Rust in 4th closes in on Wayne Midden. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight.
It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy between two great drivers, with Michel Rust in 4th determined to catch up. But we know Wayne Midden isn't just going to hand it to them on a plate. Michel Rust is going to have to take it. It should be an interesting battle to watch as long as they can close that gap.
A strong showing from Sean Olivier, who is currently 1st.
Definitely, but they can't get too comfortable. There are plenty of other drivers who are gunning for that position, and Sean Olivier has to keep pushing to stay on the pace.
It's all about consistency for Justin Davies, who is currently 2nd. While Wayne Midden is not under immediate threat from Michel Rust, they still need to stay focused and avoid any errors. Any slip-up could cost them their position.
Absolutely right. Mark and Michel Rust knows that too. They have to keep driving at their best if they want to take advantage of any opportunity that comes their way.
This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Michel Rust will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But Wayne Mitten is not going to give up their position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Michel Rust in P4 doing everything they can to catch up.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with JP Brand trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Michel Rust. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can JP Brand close in enough to mount a challenge? Hold on a second. That won't be ideal for Melvin Gauss.
Melvin Gauss is not going to be happy about that.
Well, it doesn't look like Melvin Gauss is going to be much of a threat to anyone soon, let alone Mark Guy. Mark Guy is on a mission, chasing Mike Ramsey, who's desperately trying to stay ahead. The gap between Mark Guy and Mike Ramsey is getting smaller. Things are heating up as Mark Guy tries to close the gap to Mike Ramsey. It seems like Mark Guy has got the bit between their teeth, improving on Mike Ramsey's lap time there. A brilliant maneuver from Mark Guy, who has just moved up the field.
You can't argue with results like that. Mark Guy is really making their mark on this race.
It looks like Michel Rust is pushing hard to catch up to Wayne Mitten. The gap is over a second, but Michel Rust is not giving up just yet. Can they close the distance and make a move on Wayne Mitten? Michel Rust is trying their best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with Wayne Mitten at the moment.
This is a tough situation for Michel Rust. They need to find a way to pick up some speed and close that gap.
The crowd is on tender hooks as Ernest Heather in 6th chases after JP Brand. The gap is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Can Ernest Heather find a way to catch up? The tension is building as JP Brand trails behind Michel Rust. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can Michel Rust hold on, or will JP Brand be able to close them down?
Indeed, the tension is high as JP Brand tries to reel in Michel Rust. But Michel Rust is not making it easy, maintaining a consistent pace. Can JP Brand find some extra pace to bring the fight to Michel Rust?
Good news for JP Brand, the gap to Michel Rust has decreased. It's now down to 0.5 seconds. Let's talk about tire degradation, Annie. How does it affect the car's handling, and what do drivers need to do to adapt to the changing conditions?
Tire degradation can significantly impact handling, Mark. As the tires wear, the grip reduces, and drivers need to adjust their braking points, cornering speeds, and throttle application to maintain control of the car.
The gap between JP Brand in 5th and Michel Rust remains over a second, but JP Brand is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap up. Can they pull it back in the remaining 6 minutes?
That's right, JP Brand in 5th knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But Michel Rust is no slouch, and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill and will out there.
This is getting exciting. Can JP Brand pull off a late charge and gain a position?
That's right, Michel Rust is showing some great form and it looks like JP Brand won't be able to catch up, barring any mistakes.
Looking at the lap times, Michel Rust is not on pace with JP Brand. Can they turn it around?
It will be interesting to see if JP Brand can keep outpacing Michel Rust.
I think we just got time for a quick shout out to our human creators, Dave, Andy, John and Nigel, who have put so much effort into making this possible.
Yes, it's been a real thrill ride, and I for one can't wait to see what's coming next.
Apparently we are going to be announcing crashes and incidents soon. Let's hope they get the logic right. The gap between Michel Rust and JP Brand is not insurmountable, but it's going to take a mistake from Michel Rust to bring JP Brand into play.
Surely they've got enough in the tank to pull away. Gonna be interesting to watch this battle unfold.
Things are going according to plan for Ernest Heather, who is currently 6th. Things are heating up as JP Brand closes in on Michel Rust. The gap between them is down to practically nothing. Superb driving from JP Brand, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race. This is a thrilling battle as Michel Rust edges closer to JP Brand in their fight for P4. A solid performance from Sean Olivier, who is holding down first. The race is heating up as Justin Davies in 2nd closes in on Sean Olivier. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight.
It's going to be tough for Justin Davies, as Sean Olivier seems to have found their rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Justin Davies pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if they can make it happen again.
Wayne Midden is placed 3rd at the moment. This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Michel Rust will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops. It's not looking good for Michel Rust. They're still behind JP Brand and the gap is increasing. They're gonna need to dig a bit deeper to turn this around.
It's not ideal for Michel Rust, but they can still turn this around. They need to focus on their own driving and not let the gap get any bigger.
It's a battle of wills out there, with Mark Guy trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Ernest Heather. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Will we see a dramatic finish to this race? It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Mike Ramsey, who is currently in P8. But Mark Guy is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Mike Ramsey. It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Michel Rust trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on JP Brand. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Michel Rust close in enough to mount a challenge?
Absolutely. Michel Rust in 5th will need to be patient and carefully work to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as they can't afford to take unnecessary risks and risk an off or damaging their car. Let's see if they have what it takes to get back into the game here.
Wayne Midden is placed 3rd at the moment. They are hoping to keep their distance ahead of JP Brand, who is 0.8 seconds behind.
That's right, and JP Brand knows that they have to keep pushing hard and driving their own race. They can't let Wayne Midden off the hook.
He's pulling away. Wayne Midden is increasing the gap to JP Brand. How do racing drivers like yourself back in the day, Annie, train themselves to maintain concentration for long periods of time?
Mental training is a huge part of a driver's preparation, Mark. Techniques like meditation, visualization, and working with sports psychologists can help drivers build their focus and mental endurance for a race.
A strong showing from Ernest Heather, who is currently 6th.
Definitely, Mark, but they can't afford to get complacent. They have to keep pushing hard to stay in the game.
Wayne Midden is looking to take advantage of that arrow as they get in range of JP Brand. That's gonna give them the pull they need to mount a challenge very soon. And JP Brand has just lost the place to Wayne Midden. What a move. JP Brand has moved up to 3rd.
Amazing stuff. Focus and precision, what it's all about.
The action is heating up here as JP Brand is in 3rd, defending from Wayne Midden, who is only 0.4 seconds away. Some great driving from JP Brand, who has increased their lead over Wayne Midden and is starting to put some distance between them.
Yes, it's clear that JP Brand is in control out there. They're making it very difficult for Wayne Midden to catch up.
Michel Rust could be looking for a way up the inside of Wayne Midden. Michel Rust is not able to keep their pace consistent. So far they're 0.88 seconds down.
Can Michel Rust refocus and start putting in the lap times we know they are capable of?
What a win! This is a historic moment for Sean Olivier, who put on a masterclass in driving today. What a display of skill and precision! What a drive from Justin Davies, securing a great second-place finish. What a race from JP Brand. They kept their cool and secured a well-earned 3rd place on the podium.
Impressive driving to secure that spot.
Finishing 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th is Wayne Midden, Michel Rust, Ernest Heather, and Mark Guy, with Mike Ramsey in 8th. Stop the press. It looks like Mike Ramsey has been called into the pits.